Okay, today I'm going to be talking about systems of equations and how to solve them using substitution. So here we have two equations. We have 2x plus 2y equals 0. And then our second equation is 4x minus y equals negative 20. So in substitution, the first thing that we want to do is solve for one variable so that we can plug that into the other equation. So if I'm just looking at it, I see that the y just has a negative sign by itself in the second equation. So that's probably what I'm going to choose to solve for. So let's work with that second equation here. I'm going to subtract 4x from both sides of this equation. And then we're left with a negative y on this side. And that's equal to negative 4x minus 20. Now I'm going to divide both sides by negative 1. So on our right side here, that changes all the signs of each term. So we have a 4x, positive 4x, plus 20. Change both of our negative signs to positive signs. So now I have a solution for y, and I want to plug it into our first equation and for y. So instead of having y in the first equation, we'll have a 4x plus 20 and replacing that y. So let's take our first equation, 2x plus 2 times 4x plus 20. Take that second part and plug it in for y equals 0. Now I have to distribute that 2 to the 4x and that 2 to the 20. Okay, so we have a 2x left plus 8x plus 40 equals 0. Now I want to combine these like terms. 2x plus 8x gives us a 10x. We still have that plus 40 equals 0. Now I want to subtract 40 from both sides. We're left with a 10x still on the left and a negative 40. I want to divide by that 10 to isolate our x. And then we're left with an x equals negative 4. So we've solved for just our x portion, and then we'll want to start looking at our y portion. So let me move this up. If we look back at our first equation, which I scrolled up, so I'll write it back on the board, I have a 2x plus 2y equals 0. I'm going to take our x and plug it in for x in our first equation. And you could choose any equation. You could have chosen the second one if you wanted to plug in for that one as well. It doesn't matter as long as you choose one of the original equations. So we have a 2 times a negative 4 plus 2y equals 0. We're going to multiply these two terms together. We have a negative 8 plus 2y equals 0. We're going to add 8 to both sides. We're left with a 2y on the left. And then we have an 8. We can go ahead and divide by that 2. And we're left with a y equals 4. So if we look, we have our ordered pair to be negative 4, 4. And then what you can do to double check to make sure that if it's true is take that negative 4, 4 and plug it back into both of your original equations to double check if it works. So I'm going to change my color here, and I'm going to start out with the first equation again. We have a 2x plus 2y equals 0. I'm going to plug in for x and y. I'll choose a different color. So we had a -4 and we had a +4 for y. If we multiply these two out, we get a -8. Multiply these two out, we get a +8 equals 0. And that's true because -8 plus 8 is 0. And those check out. Now let's look at our second equation that we have. We had a 4x minus y equals -20. So if we're going to substitute in here, we will plug in -4 for x and 4 for y. So we're going to take these two, multiply them together. We have a -16 minus 4 equals -20. This is true because -16 minus 4 gives you -20, which is what we have on the right-hand side too. So that checks out. So we now know that our solution is -4, 4. And it all works out.